The best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
On a Thursday, and great to have you all with us all across America and Canada. Got a lot to do over the next 60 minutes. It's a Thursday, which means David Aardsma is dropping by. Former big league reliever and closer. We'll get some thoughts with him on all things baseball. We'll go through the wild card races. We will have the debate that is raging on. Aaron Judge or Cal Raleigh? Which should it be for MVP? Sam Yarnell will opine as well. Plenty to get to from around the NFL with a Thursday night game to talk about that. We'll do that in odds and ends. And Sam Yarnell, speak of the devil, and he shall appear. I mean, not the literal devil. It's okay. We don't think of you that way. We don't partake in such harsh rhetoric on this show. You can go to any of your political channels for that. So, Sam Yarnell, let's get things started and talk about, a Commanders team that's in Atlanta to take on the Falcons this weekend. Week 4 in the NFL. And, we've had this debate already a couple of times about different teams this season. And do you start your quarterback that's, maybe 50-50 in terms of health? Do you risk it? Do you not? And the Commanders are sort of faced with that decision here in week 4 in Atlanta to take on a Falcons team that is reeling right now at 1-2. And you can look at it one of two ways. You could say, hey, we can win with Marcus Mariota. We just did last week. Look what we did to the Raiders. Granted, it's the Raiders, who have the same 1-2 record as the Falcons. Do you risk it starting Jayden Daniels, knowing what he means to this team? Or do you say, on the other hand, well, if anything does happen, we have Marcus Mariota in our back pocket? I don't think there's any way. If there is any risk to him potentially re-injuring or prolonging his return to this team, which he is so important, obviously. We know how valuable he is to this team. There were some that argued last year he could have been an MVP candidate. That's how valuable he was to this team. We already know from an offensive rookie of the year standpoint what he meant. Do you even run the risk, even if it means losing in Atlanta? Do you even run the risk of running him out there, knowing that sometimes he wants to run the football, even if he has a brace on his knee, knowing that sometimes instinct just kicks in and he could potentially hurt himself? Sam, do you do it?
No. Did you learn nothing 13 years ago, Washington football franchise? Have we not seen this exact movie before? We have. I was there. I lived it. This is exactly what happened that ruined Robert Griffin III's career. Granted, at that point you had Kirk Cousins as a backup, so it didn't end up being as horrible as I guess it theoretically could have been. But that's not the point. The point is, do not start Jayden Daniels. Your franchise has made this mistake before. Do not let them make it again. And also, Marcus Mariota, I'm sorry, isn't that bad for a backup quarterback in the National Football League. And also, the Falcons got 30-pieced and shut out last week by the Carolina freaking Panthers. So yeah, Marcus Mariota, the ball's in your locker. Jayden Daniels, don't even think about putting that uniform on.
From a betting standpoint, do you even touch it? By the way, it's Commanders -1.5. Not now, so you wouldn't. Or do you just wait till game time?
It's where I always go. It's where I went to figure out if I thought Jayden Daniels was going to start last week when I didn't. The sports book always knows with these kinds of things. They don't always know everything, but they know with these kinds of things. They have their ways. I don't know what it is. But if you're telling me, right, I'll do my Windhorse fingers. So the Commanders are only favored by 1.5, and the total's 44.5. So the sportsbook's expecting kind of sort of the final score of this game to be 22-20, 23-21, probably a more accurate football score, right? And you're telling me that the Jayden Daniels-led Commanders are going to play a 23-21 game against the Atlanta Falcons? I don't buy that. That seems like a Marcus Mariota number. I'm going to guess Mariota starts the game, and I still think the Commanders win it, Jason.
15 of 21 for 207 for Mariota. Threw for the touchdown, ran for one, as well. There are some people that think Marcus Mariota is still good enough to be a starter in this league. So, and look, maybe that's a stretch. But to me, it's a no-brainer if you're the Commanders. There's no way you're starting Jayden Daniels in this game. Even if it means you lose, I'm still playing the long game here. Sort of looking at the way the playoffs could shake out. And this early in the year, it's kind of crazy to try and read the tea leaves on where the wild card race may wind up in the NFC. But I'm not and it's not like you're 1-2 or 0-3 and your season's on the brink. To me, it's an easy decision. I'm not putting him out there if there's any risk. And I think the Robert Griffin III point you bring up, it has to weigh on this decision, whether they'll ever admit it or not. And I'm sure somebody will ask it in one of these press conferences leading up to the game. Hey, are you thinking about it? It's got to weigh on your mind if you're this Commanders organization, if you're thinking about the past as prologue, so to speak. I just don't think there's any way you put him out there, Sam.
I think that there's been so many aspects of this Commanders organization that has come so far from where they were in 2012 when Robert Griffin III had his amazing come on, and then obviously the end of that. So many aspects of this organization have come so far. For this to be their shortfall, to me, would be just as heartbreaking as, anything Dan Snyder ever did to this franchise.
I think it is fascinating, though, and I have to say, I am fascinated watching how teams are navigating some of these second and in some case third-year quarterbacks, whether it's Anthony Richardson, whether it's Michael Penix, now Jayden Daniels, JJ McCarthy. Teams that are, we're all in on these guys that are now saying, there's an injury or somebody's not playing that well and an injury, and using those as rationales to test out some of these guys that were basically throwaway quarterbacks, a Carson Wentz, a Marcus Mariota, a Kirk Cousins, a Daniel Jones, and that we're at this place in the league where teams and coaches and GMs and, Jackson Dart with the Giants now, that it's all about self-preservation, and that a lot of these guys realize every year is a chance to win it all in this league. And if that means going with Carson Wentz maybe a little longer than we thought, or, maybe going back to Kirk Cousins if you're the Atlanta Falcons, I think it's fascinating to watch, especially this early in the season, the panic in some of these teams. David Aardsma is next. We keep the conversation going, as always, on a Thursday edition of SportsWrap. One of my favorite things we do on Thursdays. It's one of my favorite days of the week because it means we get to talk to this guy, David Aardsma. With the ultimate flex today on the show, he's wearing his own jersey. Former big league reliever and closer. That'd be like me wearing my... Oh, no, it wouldn't, because I didn't actually play for the Hartford Colonials. I wouldn't dare to wear that.
Wear your bowling jersey.
No, nobody. My bowling jerseys are really funny. They're very colorful, so nobody wants to see that either. So anyway, it'd be like Sam wearing his high school football uniform or something like that.
I don't even have that.
No? Do you have
they didn't even let us keep those.
Do you have your Letterman? Do you have your Letterman jacket?
No, see, back in my day, they didn't let us keep the uniforms, and no one found Letterman jackets cool. I have a college Letterman jacket, actually, which is pretty cool, but I don't have one from high school.
Okay, fair enough. I had one from golf. I was on the golf team, so I got a Letterman jacket from playing golf. But
that's cool.
That's all I got.
That's awesome.
That's all I got. And I got a whole box of bowling trophies up in the attic at my parents' house from when I was a kid. That's it. All right, guys, let's talk some baseball. And look, I have swung back and forth on the pendulum of MVP here, with the thoughts of Cal Raleigh being deserving of it and Aaron Judge being deserving of it, and I've gone back and forth. And people could see the numbers up on the screen. Both of them hit 2 home runs last night. Judge now with 51 on the season. Raleigh hitting that historic 60. Judge's team obviously in contention to win a division. Raleigh's team having clinched the division. I want to get everybody's opinion, and then I'll tell you what I think. But David, start with you. Who is the MVP as of today?
Cal Raleigh. Aaron Judge, I want to make sure this is clear, is having an amazing year. One of the best years, one of his continual great seasons. And Aaron Judge is going to beat Cal Raleigh in almost every statistical category. Aaron Judge is a right fielder. Cal Raleigh's a catcher. Cal Raleigh's played more games, which is actually more mind-blowing. He's played more games, I believe, behind the plate than Aaron Judge even has in right field. What the Mariners are doing is historic. What he is doing is historic. These things just add up when you are in that position doing the things he's doing, and every single time he steps to the plate does anything, it is another record book number. That's what matters to me.
Sam?
I think it became clear to me yesterday, the very first part of what David said is so important in this entire context of this conversation. I agree with you, David. I think it's Cal Raleigh. I think getting to the 60 home run mark means something, especially to the voters. I think the fact that he's a switch hitter means something to the voters. I think the fact that he's a catcher means something to the voters. I think the fact that Aaron Judge won it last year also means something to the voters. But here's the thing. Here's the important thing to remember in all of this. And I'm looking at you, Yankees fans out there. Just because we are saying Cal Raleigh is going to win this award does not mean that Aaron Judge is somehow now bad or not great at baseball. I don't know how this connotation has seemingly been made over the last 3 days amongst the Yankees faithful that, man, if Aaron Judge doesn't win this MVP, it means the whole world thinks he's a bad baseball player. No! What? It is a value-driven award. And when you're talking about value, yes, I'll take the guy who plays the more valuable position, bats in a more valuable fashion, and has hit more home runs this year in a 3 true outcome era of the sport.
And there's an award for Aaron Judge. Hank Aaron Award. He is going to win that award. And that is the best hitter award and the best numbers. Most valuable. This is most valuable. So if you took either one of them off the rosters, neither team makes the playoffs. But Cal Raleigh in that position doing it, most valuable.
All right, guys. Do you know what the average Major League Baseball batting average is this year? Just want to throw this out there for a second. You know what anybody want to guess? What the average Major League Baseball batting average? Sam?
I think 235 is probably about accurate because you're talking averages, right? So
240,
you got to mix in all the guys who were called up for a week and went 0 for 10.
Yeah, 246 is the number. Cal Raleigh is hitting 248. He is average as far as batting average in Major League Baseball. His WAR is 2 points less. He has 30 less hits despite playing more games than Aaron Judge. He has a batting average of 80 points less. He has an on-base percentage of 90 points less. He has a slugging percentage of 80-plus points less, an OPS of 200 points less, an OPS plus of 40 points less. Listen, guys, I think what Cal Raleigh's done is amazing. And the caveat I will throw into the fact that I think today Aaron Judge is the MVP is this. If Cal Raleigh breaks Aaron Judge's record, if Cal Raleigh goes over Aaron Judge's historic number, non-steroid number in the American League, then I would give Cal Raleigh the award. Otherwise, it's still Aaron Judge, guys. I mean, in an era where guys are hitting 248, 246 league-wide as an average. Aaron Judge is 80 points higher than that. Soak that in for a second. With the power numbers. I think Raleigh's had an amazing season. And I will go back to what I said last week on the show with you guys. And I said it to you, David, in particular. I don't think anybody's going to lose no matter who they vote for on this. I don't think anybody can have a gripe. If Judge wins it, I don't think people can complain. If Raleigh wins it, I don't think people can complain. I really do think you've got 2 fantastic options for this award, being Judge or Cal Raleigh. However, The Yankees, who everybody had dead and buried, this guy included. I was hoping they were dead and buried so they'd fire Aaron Boone. The Yankees right now are tied for the division lead. And keep in mind, they're going to have to win the division by a game because in a tiebreaker, the Blue Jays would win the division. But does anybody doubt right now that the Yankees have the momentum on their side going into this final few days of the season? I would think not. So I feel like the Yankees are probably going to win the division. So you're going to have two division winners. You're going to have two guys, with different statistical lines. And I think Judge is just a little bit better. And it's not New York bias to say that. I don't think it's New York bias if people claim that Aaron Judge is the MVP over Cal Raleigh. And I think people have to get off this idea that Aaron Judge, who's hitting 320-something this year, winning the MVP with 51 home runs, that it's some terrible thing if Aaron Judge wins the MVP. I think it's wrong.
I don't think you're wrong either. I don't think it's some terrible thing. I think you can give it to either one, and it's deserving.
Yes.
As a team and what the Mariners are doing, I'm sorry. He's the face right now.
The face?
He's the face.
Stop it. We're coming back.
He's the face of this season. Judge is having a great year. He's the face.
We got more. We're coming back. The conversation continues on this Thursday edition of SportsWrap with David Aardsma. Sammy Arnell is here as well. David Aardsma thinks that if the Pirates had made the playoffs, that Aaron Judge would be having the fourth most valuable season.
Yes.
Not giving it to it. Stop it. We're not giving it to a pitcher.
Yes.
You want to talk about? They have their own award. Aaron Judge could get the Hank Aaron. Well, they have the Cy Young Award, and your guy Skeens is going to win that, and he should. By the way, he's had a fantastic year, but I don't think baseball is going to. I don't think anybody's going to be wrong. Sam said during the break he thinks that we should have to reevaluate the MVP award if Judge wins. I mean, that's asinine to me when you look at the numbers that bear it out. And again, I won't have a problem if Raleigh wins it. I really won't. You will not hear me come on the air the day after they announce this award and say that Aaron Judge got screwed. I don't think either guy's going to get screwed. Sometimes you've got years like this, and I think the vote's just going to be that close, guys. Now, by the way, we should mention in this conversation, the odds makers now have swung to Cal Raleigh in a big way. Yeah. It actually went down a little bit this morning because Raleigh was, I think, minus 220 when I woke up. Now he's minus 200. Aaron Judge plus 160. So there's been a little bit of a swing in it, even since I got out of bed this morning to where
Aaron
we
Judge
are now.
woke up there. Yep. You know what? We're going to give it a little bit more to him.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. So Cal Raleigh minus 200 to win the award. Aaron Judge is plus 160, guys. All right. Let's talk about some of these divisional races. Which one would shock you more, the Blue Jays collapsing late or the Tigers collapsing late, David?
The Tigers, because they had everything in the world going for them. They had all the momentum in the world. They were that feel-good team. They were the team we were all getting behind. We weren't expecting, the Blue Jays have had a roster for the last 2-3 years, even longer than that, where you expected them to win baseball games. They just somehow were figuring out ways to lose baseball games. And I don't think the Blue Jays, it's as big of a collapse because they kind of came out of nowhere too, right? They were playing very mediocre baseball for a while, played great baseball, and then played mediocre baseball again. And the Yankees started playing great baseball. They played great, bad, great. And so we saw the Yankees coming once they started hitting home runs again, right? Because that's what they do. They hit home runs. We just had no idea, the Cleveland, that's the bigger thing, is Cleveland coming out of nowhere. When they got rid of their two biggest pieces in that, the best closer in baseball is not on this team doing anything for this team other than probably gambling on balls and strikes. And so when they were able to make that run, and at the same time Tigers have that and complete incredible failure and collapse, that's the bigger story for me.
Sam?
David, have you ever been on a team that's lost 8 games in a row in the big leagues? Were you ever on a team
that went
on an 8-game losing
streak?
streak?
He played for the A's.
I am sure I absolutely have, but it just probably felt like a Tuesday on those teams.
I ask you that because as we're recording this, that's what the Tigers are in the midst of in the last 2 weeks of September. I mean, probably the worst time to go about that. Try to describe for me what the locker room sense is like, what it's like coming to work on a daily basis when you know you got to win, you can't seem to buy a win, and now you're losing to the team 5 out of your last 8 that are taking your division spot from you. What are those guys talking about? What are they doing in the locker room right now?
You're losing the division to a team that has a minus run differential. A minus run differential. And you had one of the best run differentials in all of baseball a couple of weeks ago. It's completely dumbfoundedness. You don't know what it is. You look around, you take ownership for your part of it, but you're like nobody's playing good baseball and you don't have an answer. So when it starts, you're all searching for answers. You're having little meetings. Pitchers are having their meetings. Bullpens having their meetings. All the hitters are having their meetings talking about it, saying, guys, someone's got to step up. Someone's got to come on. Let's take the reins. Somebody figure this out. And they're all scratching their heads, right? Because it's not really working and guys are doing bad. Guys are doing good. And then when you're about 5, 6, 7 more into this and you're seeing it happen and you're seeing the other team start playing great baseball, that's when you're completely lost. These guys are walking into the locker room and looking at everybody else saying, somebody step up today. But you know in your heart, like in your soul, in that little gut, and it's going to fail no matter how good it looks. 2 outs in the 9th, you're going to fail somehow. And that's what it feels like right now because you just can't figure out those ways to win a baseball game no matter what you do.
Do you think guys are going to start to turn on each other? It seems like the situation you're describing is very prone to guys turning on each other and creating a sour feeling in that locker room.
You've got 4 games left. If they lose this one again, I believe, are they playing the Tigers again today? Are the Tigers Guardians playing again?
Yes.
If that one goes down as an L, then that's when it probably starts. Or at least you walk in the locker room and everything is silent, and it might be that next series, but you know the season's over. You know you've lost the one that matters. But today, that's the beautiful part about baseball. Today is the only game that matters. If they win this, they're even. If they win this, they have an opportunity. So it's in your hands. It's in your control. If you're Detroit Tigers, you can walk in today and win a baseball game and control your destiny. And so there's always that chance, but if they lose, it will happen. It might not be tonight. It'll probably be tomorrow.
The way this wild card sort of shakes out in the American League before we go over to the National League in the next segment here, as we sort of look at the standings and where we are right now. Yankees obviously are in. The Red Sox now, with a 2-game lead, look comfortable in terms of their position as far as making the playoffs. Detroit can still get in. It'll be Detroit, Houston, one of those 2 teams getting in. Which is the most dangerous to you? Because I'm going to ask you about this in the National League. Detroit or Houston, which one would you rather have out of the postseason if you're these other teams?
So which one would I rather have out? The team that knows how to win baseball games when it matters, or the team that is based on one pitcher? It's the team that every single guy on that roster basically knows how to win a baseball game right now. And that's the team I don't want around me. They're having an epic fail, too. Complete collapse of the Astros. They've lost the entire series against the Mariners, got swept. They're about to get swept by the A's. And then they have the Angels, who I don't know will probably sweep them as well. And so neither team are playing good baseball. Neither team wants to win this thing. It just seems like the Astros want to win it a little bit more than the Tigers. I don't know. But yeah, neither team wants this thing, but I definitely don't want to see the Astros. I'd rather see Detroit and all right, I'll lose the screwball, but who else are you going to beat me with?
Talking about who wants to win it more, who wants to win it less, that is the National League wild card in a nutshell right now. I want to get to that coming up in a couple of minutes. And I want to ask David for his thoughts on ABS becoming official in Major League Baseball. We talked about it on the show yesterday with Dale Scott. We'll talk about it with David next. Coming up in 10 minutes, will JJ McCarthy ever start again for the Vikings? If Carson Wentz has another good game, I don't know what Kevin O'Connell's going to do. It's a win-now league, man. David Aardsma hanging out with us for one more segment. The National League, wild card, it's just a matter of who wants to win it less right now. I mean, you've got the Reds losing 2 games to the Pirates the last couple of days. Cannot get a hit with a runner in scoring position. They had a chance to win on a Skeens day yesterday. I mean, that game goes to extra innings. You got a shot to win. Can't get a runner across when it matters most. As much as I'd love to see Cincinnati make the postseason, though, David, as much as, hey, the Diamondbacks left for dead and they could get in and all that's great. The team that's the New Yorker. But the team that's the most dangerous if they get in is the Mets, and nobody can deny that.
No one can deny it, but does anybody want it right now? Does anybody really want the Mets to be in the playoffs if you're not a Met fan? Because you're looking at this and it's everything. You hate big rosters and big money spends, and you love it at the same time
Stars.
too. And I love Soto, but this is that perfect kind of slap across the face of every team that just went out there and just spent money and assumed the playoffs. Right?
I want to see stars. I want to see the game's best players on the biggest stage.
Which is why you should want to see the Cincinnati Reds, not the New York Mets, the team that sent their ace down to AAA less than a month ago, the team whose ace is currently a rookie two-way player in Nolan McLean, the team that has no pitching. You want to see the Cincinnati Reds, buddy. You want to see Hunter Green throwing 101 miles an hour. You want to see Ellie De La Cruz batting from both sides of the plate and whipping it across the diamond at 95 on a heater. Nah. The Cincinnati Reds are the team that America should want to see in the playoffs. I'm so tired of the New York Mets.
Did you just call them America's team?
He did just call them he called them America's team. They used to play in the Great American Ballpark, so I guess he could say that.
They still do.
I don't. Is it still called that? Look, De La Cruz has kind of let me down this year. I thought he was going to have a bigger year. I had him as a potential MVP dark horse. That team can't hit. My God, it is painful going through that lineup. That team's not going anywhere if they get into the playoffs. The Mets, they could actually get in as a wild card and wind up running through the National League if they get hot. They really can.
Don't tell me the Diamondbacks can't at the same time. The Diamondbacks are the Diamondbacks are the guardians of the National League. The Diamondbacks have just as many superstars.
Which means they're not making it anyway.
Teams.
Wait a minute. If the Guardians are the Diamondbacks of the National League,
and was left for dead.
Because I'm just saying, we know what's going to happen to the Guardians. They're going to get into the playoffs and lose to the Yankees like they do every time.
Standard operating procedure. But as the Guardians, I mean, again, the Guardians have only won 6 more games than the Diamondbacks. So it's not like there's a big, massive difference between the teams, but they're both left for dead. And the Diamondbacks out of nowhere were playing pretty good baseball to get into this point. Like, if the Reds aren't going to win it and they don't want to play great baseball, if the Mets don't want to play great baseball, at least give it to the Diamondbacks and give them a little bit of hope and then something that they can win some good baseball games too. I still think, and I've told you this, that the Mets are the best of the 3 teams, and the Mets will make the playoffs, but they don't deserve it by any means. If there's one team in both leagues that can just circle and say deserves it the very, very least and should be out of this, it is the Mets. No matter how bad Detroit's falling, they don't deserve to be out of the playoffs. The Mets do not deserve it. They played bad baseball kind of all year. They had one streak where they played some decent baseball, and they have been a letdown ever since Jump Street. And we're sitting here fighting for the Mets. They might cause a lot of damage.
They will. If they get in, they're the most dangerous team of all those teams. If they get in, they're the most dangerous team.
Yes.
Because of that lineup, they are the most dangerous team.
But I think the Reds are 1 year too early. The Reds are 1 year too early. You give me a couple guys in that lineup, a couple pieces here and there with Terry Francona at the helm. Next year is their year. This year is 1 year. Like I'll give you, Jason, I give you this. They make the playoffs, it's going to be couple out.
Every time I watch that team, I can't figure out how they've won 80 games. I can't figure out how they've won 80 games every time I watch them. I need your thoughts on ABS. Challenge system.
I've always been a fan of ABS. You have the technology.
There you go. 2 challenges for each team. You get to keep them if you get them right. I think there's going to be a lot of challenges because I think hitters know the strike zone really well. I think you're going to see a lot of challenges next year, David.
I think you'd be amazed by how little actually hitters know the strike zone.
Oh, come on.
No, watch games and watch their reactions to pitches that are strikes, and they always get it right when it's a ball. They always get it right. Watch their reaction to borderline strikes and the way they're jumping around and stuff. This is the historic with baseball. One, you never know what the pitcher is thinking because we're not allowed to have any reaction to balls or strikes. But watch their reactions to strikes, and what they're going to see next year is they're wrong a lot more times than they're right. And they're gonna complain about strikes. Wow. Being called strikes when they were actually when they were strikes, and they're going to lose a lot more challenges than what they think, because when you go back and just watch reactions of hitters, their whole process and how they hit is a failure, right? The 3 out of 10 opportunities thing, it's always a failure. So when you're looking at they're going backwards from don't take a bat away, where pitchers are always looking at is give me something. And so when they don't want a bat taken away from them. Like we're talking about it with George Springer, the ground ball down the line with the Blue Jays game. Huge moment. Maybe got it wrong, maybe got it right. But the very first pitch of the bat they called a ball was a strike. And that would have changed everything anyways. And so, all of this complaint about they're giving the Yankees that he's complaining, they gave him a ball on strike one. And so they're going to complain about a lot more things than what they think they're getting right.
Well, nothing can protect us from CB Buckner. That's the one thing we know for certain. Nothing can protect us from CB. We got to go. Sam's got an extra thought. Maybe we'll get it in the bonus segment. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to do on this edition of Sports Wrap. JJ McCarthy. Will he ever start again?
No.
It's one of my least favorite things about NFL season. And it starts this weekend. It's the international game. When it sucks to live on the West Coast. NFL season is wonderful if you live on the West Coast for most of the year, because we get football starting at 10 a.m. while the rest of you have to wait until 1 p.m. The one exception to all of that, Sam Yarnell, is the international game, which starts at 6:30 a.m. on a Sunday morning and is the bane of my existence. It is the millstone around my neck, having to get up that early to watch football. And especially in the case of a game that actually has some consequence. When they put the Jaguars over there and the Jaguars stink, you don't really care. You say, I'll sleep in and get up at halftime. But when it's the Vikings and Steelers, and two teams with aspirations of doing something this season, one with Aaron Rodgers, one with JJ McCarthy, maybe, which we'll get into here, it means I actually have to get up. It means I actually have to set the alarm for 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning and get up to watch football. One of the things that we've talked about on this show is Carson Wentz getting the start last week for Kevin O'Connell. And a lot of us wondered, a lot of us said, hey, it could go really bad or it could go really good. Well, it wound up going really good, to the tune of Carson Wentz going 14 of 20 for 173, 2 touchdowns, 129 quarterback rating, almost 123. And it helps when Jordan Mason runs it for 116. By the way, how great an addition has Jordan Mason been to that team? We all know what he was last year in helping out the 49ers with what was going on out there in the Christian McCaffrey injuries and the opportunities he got as a result. But how good has he been and how valuable has he been to this Vikings team? But it does lead you to ask the question, if Carson Wentz has another big game and you're Kevin O'Connell and you're in win now mode with guys like Justin Jefferson on this roster, and you see that you've got the Lions, who are obviously playing better after a week 1 loss. We know what the Packers are expected to do. The Bears just got to win, and maybe their offense is waking up, maybe it's not. But still, knowing how competitive that division is, if you're Kevin O'Connell, do you have to at least give it a thought to let Carson Wentz continue to start games, Sam Yarnell?
Yes, I think this is all intentional, and maybe I'm putting too much trust in Kevin O'Connell, but I think he's one of the smartest coaches in the National Football League. And I think he's playing a big brain game here with JJ McCarthy. He's seen what happens around the NFL. Heck, he's seen what happens in his own division when you throw a quarterback to the Wolves before they're ready. And I think JJ McCarthy showed him in the first 2 weeks that he's got a lot of promise, but he might not be ready yet. And then Kevin O'Connell sat down and he took a look at the schedule and he said, wow, look at what I've got coming up. I've got the Bengals, okay. And then I've got the Steelers in Dublin. Then I've got the Browns in London. Then I've got the Eagles, then I'm at the Chargers, at the Lions, then I'm home for the Ravens, then I'm home for the Bears, then I'm going to Green Bay. It is a gauntlet of a schedule that the Minnesota Vikings are about to have to run through. And I think Kevin O'Connell may have brought in Carson Wentz, give him a week to play against the Cincinnati Bengals, get comfortable in this offense, had a week before that to get familiarized with the playbook and all that kind of thing. Now I think that Kevin O'Connell thinks he's seriously got a chance to win with the team he's put around the quarterback, and he wants a quarterback that's willing enough to go up against some of the best defenses in the NFL and not have it mess with their psyche at all. I don't know if JJ McCarthy was in that spot, and I think he showed you that in the game against the Falcons. So I might be giving too much credit to Kevin O'Connell, but I think this is a big brain move by KOC to get the veteran presence in, get him to quarterback your team through the hardest part of his schedule. And to answer the question directly, yeah, I think there's a chance we see Carson Wentz for a few more weeks in that Vikings purple.
The problem is if you go a few more weeks, the vultures are going to be swirling around. You know, what is the name of their stadium? Bank of America, or I forget.
U.S. Bank.
U.S. Bank. I knew it was a bank. So that counts for something. You're going to have the vultures sort of swirling around that stadium. If this thing goes as deep as you're saying it does, I don't know if you can go back to McCarthy at that point. I don't think you can take the risk. You know, if this team wins, 4 of its next 5 or goes on a run like that, I don't know if you can make the switch back to McCarthy at that point, because if you do, you're going to get second-guessed until the cows come home, and the once brilliant Kevin O'Connell becomes a moron if he goes back to McCarthy, McCarthy struggles, and you don't wind up making the playoffs.
Yeah, well, if they win 4 of their next 5, that means they've beaten some denomination of the Eagles, Vikings, and of the Eagles, Chargers, and Lions. They've only lost to one of those teams. And if that's the case, we're going to have no chance but to start talking about the Vikings as Super Bowl contenders. Because if they're beating teams like that and plucking them off with Carson Wentz as their quarterback, yeah, we can 100% talk about that team as being a contender to win it all this year. And the other piece of that is this. If they do that, right, the narrative around Kevin O'Connell changes and people don't care about JJ McCarthy, because now Kevin O'Connell's taken old, washed up, seemingly quarterbacks 2 years in a row and said, look at this, guys, everyone getting the KOC backpack. We're going to the Super Bowl. Get ready. That's going to be the narrative around that Vikings team if they win 4 of their next 5. People forgot they even drafted JJ McCarthy a couple of years ago.
Listen, I said this in segment 1 today. I think the urgency of the now sometimes is going to cause you to put, your plans on the back burner a little bit here. And I think the Vikings could very well be in that position. Look, everybody thought it was a foregone conclusion that Anthony Richardson was the future of the Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson may never start another game in Indianapolis, barring something going horribly wrong. For Daniel Jones, which obviously we don't root for. So I think fortunes change on a whim. And sometimes guys lose their job to starting jobs due to injury. Odds and ends are next. Just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Thursday. Don't forget, on Friday's show, Tino Patino is here, because if it's a Friday, it's a NASCAR Friday. So we'll get some thoughts with him on this week's race in Kansas, with a lot at stake as the playoffs continue. Robert Littall of Black Sports Online, their founder, joins us every Friday on the show as well. We'll have Paige versus the Prince, a 4-pack of NFL picks. Sam and I both going 3-1 last week, and people are becoming believers. I got a whole bunch of new followers on social media last week after I went 3-1. Thank God they weren't watching the week before when I went 1-3. Couple of reminders before we go.
How come I don't get any new followers when I go 4-0, people? Come on, it's the Prince of Picks over here. 7-1 the last 2 weeks, and I get nothing?
You know why? Because on Sundays, because of time and editing and all that stuff, on Sundays, when I post the social media clip, I only post my picks.
All right.
It's true.
Good to know. No, I'll keep that one right up here. I'll keep it right here, right in the front.
I will make you a promise. This week, I will post your picks. And then you're going to go 1 and 3.
Well, now I'm going to go 1 and 4.
Exactly. That's it.
We had a good thing going, you and I.
Couple of reminders before we go. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast. It's available on all your favorite podcasting platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Odyssey, Amazon. Anywhere you get a podcast, you can listen to this show. Commercial free, Monday through Friday. Make sure to go and check it out wherever you get your podcasts. We appreciate it. You can also watch us on over 270 affiliates around the U.S. and Canada. We love you guys in Canada. And if you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. Sports Wrap shorts are there, sometimes conversations from the show, sometimes conversations not from the show. We have sometimes too much content to fit into an hour, and we put it there. Sports Wrap shorts as well. News is always breaking, and when it does, we're here to comment on it. We meaning me. We do that Monday through Friday, sometimes on the weekends as well. The only reason Sam doesn't do it is because Sam has another job. So he's got to pay the bills. So that's
got to pay the bills.
That's exactly right. And without any further delay, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for some odds and ends. Odds and ends, Sam Yarnell. All right, we got a Thursday night football game. By the time some of you watch this show, it may have already happened. And in that case, you'll just be able to validate whether we were right or wrong. Although I have to say, I don't have a strong opinion on this game one way or another, Sam. Seahawks on the road in Arizona to take on the Cardinals on Prime Video. It's the Seahawks -1.5, -126 on the money line if you want to go that way with the Seahawks, +108 on the Cardinals. 43.5 is your total. Do you have a feeling one way or another?
No, much like you, this game feels disgusting. However, I'm reaching so hard on what I'm going to do with this game. It's like, have you seen the jerseys the Cardinals are going to wear? And they're playing in a dome. It feels like points to me just because the number's so light at 43.5. But, Vegas doesn't even know what to do with this game. They opened it. The Cardinals were favorites. Now the Cardinals are dogs. The total was 44.5. Now it's 43.5. They're giving up key numbers. I don't know. This game feels like a mess. So I'll just root for points and hopefully have a good time.
Give me Kyler Murray for an anytime touchdown at +320. I like that. That feels right to me. Of all the things I like in this game, that might be the one that I like the most. You know what I think is interesting about this game? I think it's one of those games that early on in the year, because they're 2-1, this feels like a great game. And at the end of the year, we might look back at this game and be like, wow, remember when both of those teams were 2-1 and that was a great matchup to start week 4 of the NFL season? It kind of feels like that to me, that by the end of the year, these teams that are 2-1 now may not be so good, that neither of them may make the playoffs. Like, it kind of has that vibe to me. I don't know. Am I wrong?
No, I get that. I totally do. But I think that has a little bit of historical context associated with it, right? These are two teams that were used to having high hopes coming into seasons. We're used to them contending for an NFC West and then melting down towards the end of the year. So, I totally see how that could be something that we're looking back on this game in 10 weeks and thinking about.
Nothing about this game thrills me except Kyler Murray +320 for an anytime touchdown. One more before we go. Hey, Sam Yarnell, do you have 1.1? Let's see. What's the number here? $1.152 million handy?
I don't have $1.15 handy.
No. If we checked your checking, if we hit the checking account right now, no. Well, that's how much somebody decided to pay for a Tony Hawk skateboard from his unprecedented 900 that he had in competition. Tony Hawk, by the way, 57 years old now and still could do things on a skateboard that most people half his age can't do. But Tony Hawk's skateboard going at auction for $1.15 million on Wednesday, courtesy of Julian's Auctions. Now, I will say this. People spend a lot of stupid money on stupid things. This is one because a skateboard is something you can display. It's large. It's almost like an art piece. Of all the crazy amounts of money, like if you get a baseball card, it's like this big. If you go and spend a lot of money on it, and you're almost afraid to even have it out anywhere, Sam. I don't have a problem with this one. Of all the stupid amounts of money people spend on collectibles, this is kind of a cool one.
The video of Tony Hawk hitting that 900 is iconic. If I had that kind of money, I would pay that much for the skateboard too. It's just a piece of sports lore that'll live on forever.
I agree. Never got on a skateboard in my life. Can't say I miss the fact that I didn't. We'll see you tomorrow on the show.